Just clarify really quickly here. How many people are planning to pay full tuition for law school?
Like planning or willing?
How many people are expecting to pay full tuition for law school?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that by the end of this discussion, those expectations will change. All right. So let's run the numbers. A 509 is an ABA required disclosure. So every accredited law school has to fill out these forms. They're all ugly, but you can find them and they're standardized. They all say exactly the same thing in the same place. And the one that I've printed out here is just for George Mason, right? The easiest way to find it is to just Google GMU 509 or Georgetown 509 or whatever school. What schools you guys want to go to? Georgetown. Okay, there you go. So you just Google that, and it's always the first result. It's a PDF, and it will say something like 2016 in the long title of the PDF, okay? You click on that, and this is what you'll see. You'll see the same thing every time. So just go ahead and, if you're looking at that with your neighbor, whatever, this is great. Now, this is what I want you to know, because if you don't know this, you're going to get screwed. That's why we're talking about this, even if we're only going to talk about it briefly. First of all, on the right-hand column, you see Gpa and Lsat scores, right? Okay, obviously this will help you understand where you sort of fit in the general applicant pool, right? If you want to get money, then, and I hope all of you want to get money, go down to the grants and scholarships portion. So this is for George Mason. Now, take a look at the top row. It says total number of students. So how many students are going to GMU? 484, right? Thank you. That's equal to 100%. Total number of students receiving grants, 353. So if you're expecting to pay full tuition, then you're planning to be part of the 27% who are not getting anything. Good plan, right? They're hoping that's your expectation. I want you guys to become part of the 72.9%. All right, the majority. So what happens here? Most are getting less than half, right? But if you're within a decent range, you should be getting something. Now, half to full is only 16%, 17%. Full tuition, 0, right? Now that sounds bad. Some schools have like 5, 10 students. But notice this. There are 3 students getting more than full. That means they're getting tuition plus some living expenses, right? If you end up in the 27% that's not getting any grant money, what are you doing? You're paying for the people sitting next to you. And in some cases, you're paying their rent.
Oh my god.
Okay, so let's make sure we look up the 509 report for any school you apply to so you can know what to ask for, right? Now, how much money should you ask for? Let's assume that you're in the 50th percentile for both GPA and LSAT, right? Well, if you go down to the grants portion yet again, it says 25th percentile grant amount, 50th percentile grant amount, 75th percentile grant amount, right? That's not referring to the entire class. That's just referring to the 73% who are getting grants, right? So if you think of the class, this is the whole class, and I'm going to go ahead and put the 73% right here. So this is the 73%, this is the 100%. This is the 73% who are getting money, right? You can break that 73% down into the 25th percentile, the 50th percentile, and the 75th percentile. Now, it's not going to be, it's a bell curve, so I don't know exactly how it's going to be broken down, but you can roughly kind of put yourself at one of these points depending on where you are in the class overall. So if you're in the 50th percentile, that means you're in the middle of the overall class, but you're probably around the 25th percentile for grant money, right? So LSAT GPA, 50th percentile, maybe that means you're around the 25th percentile for grant money. So how much money should you expect?
At least that.
At least. At least what?
The 25th percentile that they list on their 509.
Yeah. And what are they listing here? $8,000. So if you're paying anything more than that, you know, in terms of grant money, if you're not getting $8,000, you're paying more than what the market says it is worth, right? You've gone to the dealer and you said, please add a couple $1,000. Feeling generous today? Plus, this is for my career. All right? So, what does this mean? When you're applying to schools, sure, you can apply to Reach schools, and you should apply to Reach schools. Maybe you're willing to pay full freight there because it's a great school and you want to go there. But, you know, reach out to a bunch of schools where you start to fit into the 50th percentile, at least for grant money, maybe even the 75th percentile for grant money, maybe even higher. Because even if you don't end up going to that school, you're likely to get an offer from them and some money with that offer. And you can go back to the schools that you're most interested in and say, hey, look, I'm really interested. I really want to go to GMU, or I really want to go to Georgetown. And right now you're not offering me any money, but this other school is offering me 50% scholarship or 100% scholarship. This is just a very hard decision. They're not going to match that, of course, because it's a much lower ranked school. But they'll say something like, sure, how about $5,000? Well, that might not be very much, but boy, over 3 years, that's $15,000 plus all the interest that you might have to take out loans to get that money, right? That's a quick 15 grand for most people. And all you did was apply to a school that was likely to give you money. Now, sometimes you look at these schools and, you know, the percentages are even higher. I've seen some as high as, I think, like 80%. Some as low as 50%. So different schools have different philosophies in terms of how much money they give out. But here it is. It's not private. It's only private because no one knows about it. Kira?
So are they reporting what students have or what they are giving?
What they're giving their students. This is what we're giving. All right, one other thing to take note of on this report. If you keep going down, which is actually on the next page, you'll see the bar passage rates. For GMU, the bar passage rate is 76%. Oh, it's 100% in DC. 76% in Virginia. In the state, right, it's 74%, which means GMU students are doing slightly better than the state. Sometimes you see these schools and it's like 50% bar passage rate. That means a lot of people are paying money, going to school, getting a piece of paper that then becomes worthless. Not good. Last thing that might be of interest to you. Take a look at the very last page. Appendix to Standard 509 Information Report. Only lawyers would be so wordy. How many people transferred to GMU?
So these are what they transferred, not how many they lost?
It's where they transferred from. So 11 people came into GMU, and these are the schools that they came from. So if you're considering transferring to a school, by the way, I wouldn't plan on that now. Just try to do the best you can on your LSAT. But, you know, when it all comes down and you're applying to schools, go to the school you want to transfer to and the schools that you're likely to get into, and see how many students are transferring from those schools, the ones that you're going to apply to the one that you're trying to eventually transfer to. If you see one, then you're like, I guess not many people transfer. But look, 4 people transferred from American to GMU. Are those odds good? No. But sometimes these numbers are pretty high, like 20 people. You're like, 20? Gosh, what the heck happened? So you have to do well in your GPA your first year, of course. So I wouldn't plan on it, but all the information is here. I would just dig through this. Any questions? All right, how many people are now expecting to pay full freight? I'm impressed. I hope you expect to get something because the price sheet is out there. Oh, okay, wait, I see. Given how I'm doing, I should expect about $8,000. Is that right? Now, don't frame it that way. Just ask kindly for it. All right?